this Sorry,
Now,
can you hear
yes.
me? So we're very warm welcome to everyone to this virtual side event to the United Nations High-Level Political Forum 2026. We're extremely honored to be able to co-organize this webinar and side event together with Siam University in Thailand, with a Global Student Forum, with Sun Thailand, the Thai SD network, with Mykolas Romeris University in Lithuania, the University of La Manuba in Tunisia, and the Education and Academia Stakeholder Group, the EASG. The topic of this side event is sustainable cities and higher education, and we will look at how partnerships can be accelerators for sustainable transformation. On this first slide, you can see that we try to also connect different SDGs, SDG 4, 9, 11, and 17, 17 being one of the SDGs that the IAU is proud to also champion when it comes to the work that we carry out together with universities from around the world. Just one quick note on this first slide. You will see first that we celebrate 75 years at the International Association of Universities, so we're very pleased to underline that and to be working on partnerships and collaboration around the world for so many years. And also on the picture, this is a beautiful picture from Thailand in Bangkok. This is the bus boat that you can take if you want to travel the city in an interesting way, because it allows you to cross the city using the naval access, naval access, the water access is through the city. So interesting as well in terms of addressing already right there an opportunity for better transformation inside the city. So a beautiful picture altogether. So we can go to the next slide, please. So today we will have the opportunity to listen to 4 different presentations, which will be shared by Pornchai Mongkomvanit, the president of Siam University in Thailand, and Ying Sohani, the director of international relations at Siam. Then the second speaker will present on the topic of sustainable cities and higher education from a Lithuanian perspective. Paolo Pereira is the head of the Environmental Management Research Lab at Mykolas Romeris University. Then we will have a perspective shared by Lebanon and Beirut Arab University by Hiba Mohsen, professor of Faculty of Architecture at Beirut Arab University. And last but not least, we will give the floor to Tamara Chobano, who's a member of the steering committee at the Global Student Forum. So we're very honored with these different voices from Asia, from Europe, from Lebanon, and from the student voices. And I'm also moderating this conversation here today together with Isabelle Thoman, Senior Program Officer at the International Association of Universities. So a very warm welcome to the speakers and a very warm welcome to the many participants from around the world. We look forward to the presentations. Each speaker or each group will have 10 minutes to present. Then we will have a moderated discussion around 2 major questions that we've shared already with the speakers. And then we will have a conversation among them and address the questions in the Q&A section of this webinar. So please don't hesitate to use the Q&A space online so that we can see the questions that we can raise with the speakers today. The closing will be introduced by Juhaina Gharib, who is UNESCO Chair Manuba University. She's also Vice President of the International Association of Universities, and she's also the Chair of the Working Group on Higher Education and Research for Sustainable Development at the International Association of Universities. And I can also say here already that Juhaina was host recently to a wonderful working group of the entire Higher Education and Research for Sustainable Development Global Cluster on HESD. And that allowed to also see how the very important topic of sustainable cities and the link to higher education is essential in a country like Tunisia. Maybe you will say something about that when we get there at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let me give you a quick introduction to the IU before giving the floor to Isabelle Thoman. So Isabelle, yes, thank you. So for those who don't know, but those who do know, you may wish to hear again, the IAU is an international non-governmental organization that was called into life by UNESCO back in the late 40s with the signing of the IAU Constitution in 1950 in Nice. The ground upon which the association was built was on the back of a Second World War, where it was decided that maybe it was also important to look at how education is being provided around the world, and higher education in particular, and how higher education can contribute to building peace in the minds of people through higher education. This is a topic more important than ever in a world that is still challenged far too much by conflicts and challenges of global nature around the world. And we have to come together, universities and university systems as a collective in order to address the global challenges we face. So we're based at UNESCO, but it is important to note that we're rigorously independent. UNESCO, as you know, is an intergovernmental body an organization affiliated to the UN, and it is the UN institute that is tasked with addressing the issues of education. So if we're based in Paris at UNESCO, we're independent in the sense that we respond to governments. So we're very often called to partner on projects, to sit in on meetings, to voice the concerns of higher education on any topic that UNESCO is working on. We have a global membership of over 600 members in some 130 countries, and we're always pleased to welcome more because it is by building the collective that we can address the global challenges we face. We maintain a global higher education database that will be of interest to the many, the attendants and the speakers, because in that World Higher Education database, we map and document the higher education systems from around the world, and we list over 20,000 higher education accredited institutions in countries. So we work very closely with governments in countries to receive the proper information on those institutions that are accredited, and that global higher education database is there for you to use to develop new partnerships and innovative partnerships around the world in your work when it comes to sustainable development. We do a lot of advocacy work to governments and in particular to the UN and to UNESCO to position higher education as the key driver for societal transformation. To do so, we also offer a wide range of research opportunities. We publish various magazines and journals and papers. We monitor what the state of play is when it comes to the 4 key thematic priorities of the IAU. Value-based leadership, sustainable development, higher education and research for sustainable development, fair and inclusive internationalization, and the digital transformation of higher education. We carry out global surveys, and the most recent one, as Isabelle will also underline, was on the engagement of higher education for and with sustainable development goals. And we do contribute to innovative networking opportunities and very inclusive ones around the world. Next, please. Here, I would like to give the floor to Isabelle to lead you into understanding better the work that we carry out on HESD. Isabelle, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Shilaj, and welcome.
Isabelle, we don't hear you. Can you start again?
Yes. welcome everyone, and thank you so much, Hillage. And I think you should be able to hear me now. Can you hear me? Okay. I was just saying that this is every year a really pleasure to work on the HLPF and the high-level political forum related events. And IU has been engaging as an association close to UNESCO, but also an association with ECOSOC status to the United Nations. We've been engaging since 2009 at the UN HLPF with an in-person participation the first year and a very constant online participation, always having at least one online event on specific SDGs together with our partner universities. And last year, you can see a picture here. This was from a discussion on higher education last year, where we also had on-site a side event, and we are planning to engage again next year more strongly. And all of this work falls into this priority that Hillage mentioned on HESD, higher education and research for sustainable development. In particular, what we're doing with our members, we're trying really to encourage this element of peer-to-peer learning, encourage this element of networking, and support member universities to work with the sustainable development goals, to work with sustainable development more broadly, and something that we call also the whole institution approach. This is also an element of work that we've been implementing very strongly with UNESCO in the last years. We also provide capacity building, seminars, networking services, and we monitor trends and collect information and share relevant information with our members, but also with the wider public on higher education engagement with the 2030 agenda. So here I'm just sharing some of our activities, including the IU-HESD portal, the survey that we just closed data collection for. The Responsible Futures International program is a capacity program we do together with SOS UK. And of course, the advocacy work in these international spaces, in these science policy and higher education policy interfaces. We've also organized an event that actually this event is building up on in January at the UN ECOSOC Partnership Forum that was also linked to community engagement in sustainable cities. And now we're very happy to be able to again have an event in this space. I wanted to zoom in also very briefly on our cluster network, because these are really the experts. Without them, we couldn't organize these type of events, and the speakers that you will hear today, they are all part of this network that the IU launched in 2018. And the basic idea is that all there's different groups, subclusters we call them, working on different SDGs together with partners from at least 3 or 4 different continents. So this is how it started, and now this group has organically grown in the last 8 years to around 70 universities and 100 contacts. We did have the really nice opportunity earlier this year in April to meet at the University of Carthage with the also essential support of the University of Manuba and the University of Sus for an expert meeting. So these are the pictures that you can see here. And from this expert meeting, we will have 2 concrete outcomes that are to be published in the next weeks. One is a position paper, and one is also a work plan, in addition to the annual activity reporting that we do with this group. And this group is really to enhance this engagement with sustainable development, with the sustainable development goals in teaching and learning, but also in research, in campus, in community engagement, and in partnerships. So again, recalling this idea of a whole institution approach. And I also invite everyone to discover a bit the activities that we've been doing in this group. Last but not least, one of the pages, one of the platforms you can use is the IU-HESD portal, which is a repository of actions from universities and from organizations in higher education, conferences, publications, research projects. So you name it, you can search for an SDG, you can search for a keyword, or you can go directly on a university's profile, and you can also actively submit information. We can share the link as well. The survey that I've already mentioned before, I also invite you to keep an eye out on the report of this survey. We've received almost 600 responses, and we're just in the process of the first data sorting after closing the data collection that we started earlier this year. So that's also something to look out for. But I think I will close it here, just to have given you a little bit of an insight of possibilities with the IAU and engaging with IAU HESD initiatives very strongly as also a stepping stone of engaging at the UN level and of supporting our members in higher education institutions, not just for SDG 11, but for many other SDGs. And I think this is a good transition to give the floor back to Helen van Landen and invite her to introduce our expert speakers that will be able to shine more light on the good practice that universities are doing already. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabel. And yes, this is a very nice segue into the work that's being carried out by the subcluster on SDG 11. And there I would like to give the floor to Pornchai Mongkomvanit and Ying Sohani from Siam University to present the work that's been done so far and what the plans are ahead. The floor is yours for 10 minutes, and I will be draconian.
Okay, thank you very much, Village. First of all, I'm also very much delighted to be a part of this important session at the United Nations online. And then I also very happy to rejoin with the activity of IAU again, because IAU is the voice of higher education. And I think that during this time, the most important thing is the voice that is dealing with sustainable development and sustainability, because we have so much problem that we have right now. And then I think that I'd like to go to the PowerPoint, the slides. Yes, when you see our slides, you can see the waterway and also kind of boat in the waterway. I like to reflect on this, because when I was a child, like 40, 50 years ago, most of the quality of the canal and river in Bangkok has a problem. We have a lot of pollution. And then right now, as you see, it's become blue again. And then this is also one of our traditional boats, but we also from time to time, right now we also have the boat that run by electricity, and also trying to do something like in Venice. So we have the boat route to many places in Bangkok. And this happened because I think that partly because of our education to promote sustainability, and partly because our success in economic development in Thailand, because we invest a lot in our infrastructure. So I think that this is quite important. And then I also like to say that right now I'm also represent the Sustainable University Network of Sun Thailand. I'd like to talk a little bit about Sun Thailand. For Sun Thailand is that we try to have the university that has the main interest in sustainability. Actually, most of the university also interest, but we like to have someone who like to work together. And we end up having about 60 university out of 150 university, both public and private. And then we also working together and also make sure that our program, our activity will be leading to the outcome that we like, that is sustainability. And then last year, next slide, please.
Next slide.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
And last year, I just took over the presidency from my predecessor, and then at Chulalongkorn University. I also think that in order to be success in sustainability, we cannot do it only in one country. So I have the policy of expanding into Southeast Asia. And then right now I've been the president of the Sun Thailand for 6 months. And then I'm successfully in asking the university and network in Malaysia, in Vietnam, and also in Singapore to work with me. So right now, Sun Thailand has been expanded to the regional level. And we also connect that regional level with international sustainable campus network. We call it C network. That is C from Southeast Asia. So it will be right now we have Thailand, we have Singapore, we have Malaysia, and then we have Vietnam working together. And each of the country also have to build their own network. So right now, what I like to say is that in Southeast Asia, we also realize that the university will be the very important vehicle toward the sustainability. And then I learned a lot from IAU, and I also like to implement what I have learned. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then from time to time, we also work with other organizations like United Nations, and this one we work with the United UFUNA is the United Nations Association of United Nations.
World Federation.
World Federation of Association of United Nations United Nations Association. So we work together even with the country that is not in Southeast Asia. We also work with Korea at that time, and we also try to promote the youth participation. And I also like to report to you what happened in Thailand and in Southeast Asia. Right now, in Thailand, we also try to focus about our city and waste management, like in my institution. If I separate the waste correctly, I have to pay some amount to Bangkok Metropolitan. But if I don't collect the waste and separate it correctly, I have to pay like 6 or 7 times more. So it's a kind of trying to form the habit of the people in the city toward sustainability as well. And as Ying might mention later on, we also trying to make sure that city and university, we have to work together. We would like to make our university like a laboratory for the city. And then in order to design our activity within the university, we also have to make sure that we try to have the activity according to the need of the city at that time. At this time, we also have a lot of problem about the economic development. So we also have a very big fair we call Siam Fair, and then provide the opportunity for small business owner to selling many products in the city. And next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we the slide before this. So we don't only work with the city authority, but we work with communities. And something that we have worked as is like right now Thailand is enter into the aging population. We also trying to make sure that within the community they can help each other. So we create the project called Time Bank for the people in the community. And then for the next thing, I like Ying to explain to you about our activities. So Ying, please.
Yes. So thank you very much. And this is about collaborating with the 45 local community for the well-being project. And this is supported by the National Health Security Office and with the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. And thanks to the governor of Bangkok governor, we also very active with that. And we also focus on identifying community sustainability challenge. And can I have next slide? So also we have done a lot for empowering for sustainability, where we have also the Tree of Hope participatory learning method, and which is led by the Faculty of Communication Arts. And thanks to the students and the dean, and also the Community Organic Farming Initiative. And we were the finalists for the 2025 International Green Gown Award for Benefiting Society. Next slide. We also have a news that very importantly, sometimes we have a safety issue for the motorcycles using on the pedestrian path. So we have the S-guard barrier poles for the safe pathways that is near the university. And we have also received a lot of complaint earlier. So we have tried to expand it to the 15 location in the Pasicharan district. This is very important for the people who are using the public transport. Next slide. Also, we have done a lot with as President Dr. Ponchai has mentioned, for the ACD University Leadership Action Camp. This last time we have done with the World Federation of United Nations Association. This time we are also going to do it again in September. We were trying to do it the immersion program, but due to the geopolitical issues and the war, we have to extend it to make it in September. So the last year was very successful, 62 students from 12 countries, and the students had really good time. And the main topic was sustainable cities and community, and they had to come up with the project, and also they had to present it under the World Federation of United Nations Association. And next slide. And we also have a great news that it was also supported by the Thailand Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and a lot of students, they were coming not only from Asia, but from UAE as well, from from Taiwan and from Nepal, and also they visited TICA and UNSCAP as well. And next slide. So other thing was also about the culture. So we also not only think about sustainability, but also to preserve our culture. So it has to be importantly dressed in Thai and share the beauty of the Thai culture, and also for the youth, for the community development project. Next slide. It's about promoting Thai arts. And also we have Bangkok Expo. So this is Bangkok work, and a city of efficiency. And it's about electric cargo tricycle prototype, a smart city innovation, and automated waste separation machine and bio waste management system. And that's the governor, Bangkok governor, with our vice president, Dr. Chanita. And we have also done a lot for the smart city innovation. Next slide. And now I can request our president, Siam Fair.
Okay, so the previous one is the example of our innovation that if we work with the city, then our innovation can be implemented. We use the electrical motorcycle to collect the waste in the very small road, small area, and this is Siam Fair. So we try to have to turn our university campus into the marketplace, and then trying to work with not only the community, but also the law enforcer, and also every organization within the city, to make sure that our people can have some activities in order to promote the economy of people within the community. And this is the one in the center is our Bangkok governor. And he at that time, he was the Bangkok governor who has like more than 1 million and 1.2 million votes. And this time he has more than 1.5 million votes. And then he also be in our campus for like 4 or 5 hours, working together, trying to create the project together, trying to bring the innovation into implementation. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Please go to next slide. Okay, and this is when we turn our campus into the marketplace. I don't think that you can see. This is the whole campus, and then the student also learn as well, because when we have the market in the campus, the student also will learn about entrepreneurship. How can they survive with the competitions of selling things with the people in the community. So it's the learning process. And at the same time, we also have a chance to promote the economy within Bangkok. Next slide, please. Next, okay. And the next thing that we are doing right now, I just came back from Bangladesh. This is we signed the MOU with Professor Yunus online, but afterward, when he stepped down from being the leader of the country, he also like to work with us. And then right now, I think that Professor Yunus also setting up not only the Grameen Bank, also the Grameen University. And then we also trying to work with this new university about sustainable business, about the sustainable business activities. So that is the other thing. And we also have introduced the master degree program in business sustainability and digital transformation, because this time, I think that in order to make sure that we can make change in sustainability, we need the digital infrastructure. This is in Bangladesh when we signed the MOU, and then after this, we also set up the Center within Siam University. Next, please.
And then
next, please. Next slide, please.
Sorry, could you wrap up, please? Just one or two sentences.
Yeah. So this is the very last slide. So after this, we also trying to have the network with UNHCAP about youth leadership and innovation for sustainable economy. And I also have a good idea working with the UN and working with the HCAP. Because in the past, when we have the events there, we have only the diplomat and a lot of administrator. And right now, I just present my idea. Why don't we try to invite the student? That will be our future. And then last event that we commemorate, like 80 years of Thailand joining United Nations. We have almost 200 students in that event. So the UN events in Bangkok, you can see like more than 60 or 70% in the hall, they are students, and they also participate. So this is something that we try to make different. Thank you very much. That's what we like to present to you.
Thank you.
Because you are at the UN.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you very much, and wonderful work that you're displaying. I already see many different universities that you could connect to when it comes to this work, and one that comes to mind, and Isabel, you may concur, is the British University in Cairo in Egypt. Because they have a lot of work around the UN and student engagement in many different forms and shape, and strong engagement with the community. So maybe we can also see how that could be a touch point moving us into the future, and particularly addressing the issues related to SDG 11. So thank you very much for this presentation. I'm now pleased to turn directly to Paulo Pereira, who's the head of the Environmental Management Research Lab at Mykolas Romeris University in Lithuania, to hear a second voice when it comes to engaging with sustainable cities.
Good afternoon to all. Igor, thank you very much for presenting me. I don't come so much from the administration. I'm come from the part of the research to describe a bit and to speak a bit about a hot topic that is extremely hot in some cases and in some cities. This is about hot cities and what we are heading on and what is the troubles that we face it. Especially with the miscommunication and the brainwash about climate change, when likely the climate change is not the most problematic issue here. It's just ourselves and how we organize our urban areas. So what we head on? So a fact is that the cities are getting hotter, And climate change is not the one to blame. And why I from the academic point of view, I defend this. Because most of the heat that we suffer in the cities is because of the urban density or the urban construction or how organized the public space. So this is a diagram, very old one, by the way, that reflects the urban climate and how it changes since the suburbs until the center of the city, and then in the different land uses that are inside of the city, as the parks, as the suburban residential, and how the heat or the temperature changes according to urban morphology. So it's easy to see, according to the figure that is on this slide, that in the urban centers and the areas where the urban fabric is more dense and more compact, where the temperatures are high. So is normal that people that live in these places suffer much more than elsewhere. So the fact of the heating that is affecting us or affected us in the previous weeks is mainly because, or mainly a problem for the persons that live in the cities, because they live in authentic ovens, just because of the urban architecture, and of course the houses are not prepared for this. So the issue is how we can have a sustainable construction and how we can make the cities less vulnerable to these events. So the issue is not more about how much heat it is, because the heat, of course, it is high, or the climate change related events have their impact on the populations, but where we live. If you live in a rural area, likely less exposed to that if you live in a dense habited area. So the problem of the heat waves is mainly an urban problem. So in this, you need an urban problem is where people live in more concentrations. So we in Sustainable Development Goal 11, we were very ambitious, and we want to reserve. I just talk and mention some of the targets that we want to reduce the disasters, water-related disasters, and that floods is also important, although I'm not speaking about this here. Another thing is that we want to create more public spaces, and all this to 2030, that we have only 4 years to reach there. I don't know, so let's see if we can get there. And also in another target is that how we can adapt to climate change, resilience to disasters. And these are also very nice targets that UN and the world proposed itself to achieve. But in the end, we are doing very few things for this, because we are more or less concerned about how climates are changing and how the temperature are changing and how the extreme events are changing. But in the end, we don't prepare our cities for this. And we are doing, in some cases, even worse, because urban expansion is getting high, contrary to the targets that we have in the Sustainable Development Goals, and we are losing fertile soils. And this is also other problem that is important for the cities, as speaking about the food security. And if we speak about the trends of the world, so we are getting a very urbanized society, which has increased our vulnerability to the extreme events. So, and another thing that caught me in this figure is the fact that people that come to live to cities actually do not come to live better, because a large percentage of them, at least 33, they go to live in slums. So likely the conditions are not the best. So it's something that you, first, from a social point of view, can address. The issue, what you are here, is to understand how the cities can, how we as universities can contribute to this situation, and how to illuminate the society about this. So a few years ago, we did an article with my colleague Inga, and how higher education could contribute to this. And what I'm presenting here is mainly focused on the Sustainable Development 11. And one of the main things that universities should be aware, including the one that I work, is that we should lead by example. You should be the change that you want the society to be. So in some extension, how we are behaving in our campus and how we can change things to more sustainable practices, more friendly materials, less use of pesticides, of herbicides, trying to have a more healthy green area, and so on, to tackle climate change effects. Another thing is that we could also create some mandatory courses that integrate these aspects. And one thing that is very important to me as academic and as a professor is that we have to promote a knowledge-based society, not an activist and greenwashed one, because most of the people that and the young people that are for the environment, they tend to drink the information from the media and not actually from science-based outcomes. And this can make a distortion between what is true and what is not true. So it is important to make this division between what is the knowledge and what is the media is putting. So in the question of the cities is very clear. They are always blaming climate change, but never blame or never touch the fact that people are putting themselves in vulnerable situations. So this is something that should be addressed as well for people to not be biased. Another thing is that, of course, we are doing here in the campus, we are doing the university, we are, I've not brought photos because this is not the aim of my presentation, of course, but we are engaged with students, NGOs, try to reverse this greenwash and activist society and to try to people get the knowledge where they should get, or true knowledge, not digested knowledge as they get in the press. Another important thing is that there is a difference between create a green healthy campus and then another green or dysfunction wall, as I will show you after. And another important thing is that universities as institutions that can shape the future that we want, look to the future, not to the market, because the market, if you go after always the market, we always depend on the market. But if you create a society that is critical and informed, will contribute to the market that can be in the future. So this is something that you should see very critical to our activities. To go a bit of research, so for you to see what is the impact of hot cities, if you live in a dense urban area, what you can see is that temperatures could reach in the surface temperatures could reach at easily to 40 or more than 40. So also in these areas that are considered green, the lawns or the grasses, they have high temperature and they worth zero to help the cities to be more sustainable. This is something that municipalities should care of. If you live in the forest or something or near the forest, maybe you can get more benefits. The issue is that if we can see is in the area that is more dense, right? Where is the concentration of the urban heat island or the implications of high temperatures? So if you understand that you have a bad organization of the cities, you cannot blame constantly the climate that is the fault. No, it's our fault because we don't organize ourselves to tackle these situations. It is another example that you have difference in temperatures. So we have here the temperatures of the trees that are, this is here in the campus, this is near the campus. So we have buildings near the trees, buildings that can reach 46 degrees, and you have on the side the temperature of near the tree that is 22. So we have an amplitude of more than 20 degrees, just because we have a house that is not prepared or is not adapted to such temperatures. So we are conducting some work here at the campus. So one of the work that we are conducting is assessing biodiversity using drones, and we map it. And why we study biodiversity? Because the biodiversity is the basis for a sustainable city. More biodiversity we have in our city, more sustainable will be our city, more instruments and more capacities we will have to reduce the impact of the extreme climate events, both floods and heat waves. So we come from the base. We cannot start to see that, oh, it's hot or it's very hot. But if you don't address the basis of the problem, we never reach a solution. So we started to understand what is the biodiversity of the campus, of the tree biodiversity, and how this can contribute to reduce the temperatures. So we have another project here that is assess the carbon sequestration. So we mapped also the types of forests, the different land uses, and so on. And we saw that in different parts of the year, this is just illustrating what is the different two dates from 2025, 2026, and you can see that are the different capacities of carbon sequestration in these periods of the year. And what we see and the preliminary results that we have is that the areas that are intensively managed by the university personnel are the ones that have less capacity. So more money you invest in the management, less resilience you have to combat climate change or to mitigate greenhouse gases emissions. So this is something that at least our university should consider it at the time of the management. Another thing is that we see that forests that are more diverse, there is more diversity, with the diversity is the ones that have more capacity to sequester carbon. So again, we come back to the biodiversity issue that should be the basis for us to tackle problems regarding extreme events, floods or heat waves in the cities that, at least here in the context where you work, are very essential. But I think this is also can be transmissible to other realms. So since the presentation is also 8 minutes, I don't know if I extend my time. I would like you to give you a message to all of you, is that be sustainable is not about how green we are. It is about how critical and transformative we are towards sustainability. So I see it's important for the young generation to understand that we have to be critical to what we receive in this area of disinformation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paolo, for this very good presentation and the different steps that you led us through. And here in the city of Paris, it's quite interesting to see what is happening these days in greening the city again and bringing biodiversity back as one of the opportunities for transforming the city into a better one. And it's following several of the steps that you've highlighted. We will come back to one question: how to promote knowledge-based societies. That will be interesting to debate, because we say we need to promote it, but how do we do it is another thing that is part and parcel of the transformation of our teaching and research and community engagement. And maybe we will have time to devote 1 or 2 minutes to that topic when time comes to discussing the many points that Poinchai, Monkonvanit, Ying Shoani already showed, and you as well now. I'm now turning to an example from Beirut Arab University. So Hiba Mohsin, I would like to give you the floor to also in less than 10 minutes run us through where you see the future when it comes to sustainable cities. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. I'm pleased to share a project or an example of how universities can act as partners of sustainable urban transformation. So my presentation is entitled Academia and Local Governance in Urban Co-Production, the SAIDA Southern Waterfront Project, where BAU, Beirut Arab University, is a partner in sustainable urban transformation. So we'll see how the university engaged with local actors to support urban transformation process in this city. This project focused on the southern waterfront of Saida and was developed this academic year through a collaboration between the university, the municipality of Saida, and Hariri Foundation, an NGO in Lebanon. So Saida waterfront is historically an important interface between the city and the sea and its cultural heritage, shaped by fishing, the trade, maritime activity, and the site we selected to work on, or the project, was progressively filled over the last year and become a landfill, showing here the timeline of this landfill. However, the project, which is, as I mentioned, is a coastal landfill area, created an environmental degradation and also is an important opportunity for urban regeneration. And the municipality wanted to explore new visions for investment, regeneration, and public accessibility, and to transform this area into a more productive and resilient waterfront, which is adjacent to the historical city center of Saida. So this made the site a strategic case for academic collaboration between, because it combines multiple challenges: spatial disconnection, degraded coastal land, underused open spaces, weak integration between ecology, mobility, and public life. And here I'm using the keyword related to SDG 11, which is the focus of our presentation today. So the project methodology connected the classroom to the city through a strategic planning session, repeated site visits, and contextual analysis of the waterfront. It also included reviewing planning condition of the site, consulting local stakeholders, discussing feasibility, land use, accessibility, and environmental performance with the municipality. And the project was developed within a 14-week site planning course. The course we adopted this project is name is site planning at the university. And this project involved around 40 students working within a design chariot or a participatory planning process. This course was guided by a faculty team, including myself and my colleague, Dr. Baher. And here I'm trying to highlight how the university role extended beyond the teaching design or the design studio, and it became a platform for education, research, innovation, and more importantly, the civic engagement or the collaboration with local actors within the city. So this is precisely where I would like to highlight how the higher education institutions can contribute to SDG 11 through such platforms like the BAU Urban Lab, which connects academic knowledge to the real urban challenges. And by engaging community-based projects like the one I'm presenting today, the universities can engage evidence-based, locally grounded project and socially responsive visions. So the central question was how can the southern waterfront become a more connected, inclusive, productive, and environmentally resilient part of Saida? And to address such a question, the students were asked to think of the waterfront not only as a coastal strip, but as a public space, ecological system, and economical opportunity and social connector between the city and the sea. So we, as academic or as a course instructors, we defined three main thematic themes or thematic axes in this course. Theme 1, Smart Saida Waterfront. Theme 2, Socioeconomic Waterfront. Theme 3, Green Infrastructure and Ecological Regeneration. And each student group selected one of the themes to focus on and not neglecting the other axes. And they developed a master plan proposal around it, allowing different visions for the future of the waterfront to emerge. So I will go quickly to the proposed planning master plan, and then continue with the methodology on site. So the first theme, Smart Saida Waterfront, they imagined the site as a productive urban district, combining services, social infrastructure, power generation strategies, and investment. And given the lack of electricity and integrating infrastructure, they focused on energy systems, public spaces, service areas, and they restored an existing neglected lake zone and added market and investment space near the port-related functions. So the key area was creating a catalyst strategy where the revenue generated activities to help funding the public spaces, green areas, and shared amenities. As for the second theme, also developed by another group, they focused on socio-economic waterfront. Then they approached the site as a multi-purpose corridor, focusing on mobility, local business, and social interaction. So they proposed a walking and cycling tour around the site, shaded public spaces, maritime center linked to the fishing and tourism, and commercial areas such they added kiosks, cafe, and restaurants. And they calculated the land commercial area versus the public realm for the feasibility of the project. And then, so they conducted a feasibility study for the project. As for the third theme, which is focusing on the green infrastructure and ecological regeneration, they proposed a regenerative waterfront green corridor connecting the new urban area with the old Saida coastline and creating a continuous green paths and community nodes. So in this project, the main aim was to transform the fragmented shore line into a continuous green spine that reconnects the city to the sea and improve environmental and public life conditions. And at the same time, they studied the native coastal plants and bird species, and they proposed interventions related to ecological restoration, biodiversity, climate responsive public spaces, and also social spaces for recreation and gathering. So together, these proposals aligning strongly with the SDG 9, they focused on improving the public access, supporting environmental resilience, strengthening local economical activity, and encouraging more collaborative urban planning. And how the university become a partner in urban governance. An important outcome of the project was not only the proposal themselves, but the collaborative process behind them. So at the end of the semester, the three partners, the university, the municipality, and the NGO organized a participatory session with the community entitled Integration Between Academia and Local Governance. And in this session, during this session, the students presented their master plan proposal to the municipality representative, to experts, to members of the local community and other stakeholders. And they created, this session created an opportunity for dialogue around the future of the waterfront and the feasibility of the proposed ideas. And they, this dialogue or this session was a tool for discussion, for discussing the proposals. And rather than a purely academic exercise, these proposals became participatory tools for discussion. And this is where I think university can make a strong contribution by bridging knowledge and practice to test ideas in real context, opening dialogue between institutions and community, and preparing future architects, future planners to work collaboratively with on complex urban challenges. So this project, Saida Southern Waterfront Project, shows how BAU could support local partners with planning ideas, especially in a weak governance structure like Lebanon. It's very important for this collaboration, and it's very important to expose students to real urban and environmental challenges. And in that sense, this project is not only about redesigning the waterfront, it's also about testing how higher education can actively participate in building greener, more inclusive, more resilient, and more equitable cities. And it shows how university can move beyond the classroom to become real partners in shaping sustainable urban transformation. Thank you.
excellent, wonderful presentation, Hiba, and an example of how universities engage at local level and with communities as diverse as those that you've showcased. And so this Saida Waterfront project is amazing, and I hope that we can discuss it a little bit further. But you show indeed already, as on the first question that we had for the Q&A later, how universities and higher education in general can help accelerate sustainable transformation of a city, and involving the entire higher education community in the processes. So let's discuss that further after we will have heard from Tamara Ciobanu, who's a member of the steering committee of the Global Student Forum, and how from the student perspective, this topic of sustainable cities and higher education can actually come alive also through partnership with students from around the world.
Hello, hi, hope you hear me well.
Yes.
Just a second. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Tamara Ciobanu. I'm, as was mentioned, executive committee member, a steering committee member of the Global Student Forum, and an executive committee member of the SDG for Youth and Students Network within UNESCO. Of course, we heard a lot from the research perspective, from the leadership perspective, and I felt the need for the students to also be here and more or less say what we think about this. I will start by saying why students matter for SDG 11. It's very important to understand that, at least for us, for the students, the higher education institutions are not necessarily seen as a separate thing from the city. So they really shape urban life, especially if we look in the cities where the universities are extremely big. Of course, through housing, to energy, research, digital access, civic engagement, all this kind of aspects are truly impacted by the students that are part of the universities, thus part of the community. And when we are meaningfully involved, that means that the universities and the cities can gain a lot of creativity, legitimacy, lived evidence, and stronger links to younger generations through us, through the information that we have, through the support that we have, to the knowledge that we can gather in our campuses, in our communities. And I wanted to underline what students bring to city-university partnerships. Currently, also looking at many different cities around the world, but also in different cities that things could be done so much better. There was a noticeable view of the lived experience. So how students face different challenges such as affordability, mobility, safety, climate risks. These directly impact us, and it's very easy to get all this lived experience from us. Then, of course, community reach. We connect with peers, local communities beyond the formal channels. We have our student unions, we have our smaller communities, and it's very easy to get to our community and to ask what the issue is, so then we can take them further. Advocacy and accountability. Student groups usually tend to mobilize quickly when there is a strong need for that, and help keep institutions accountable when something good or something bad is happening. As I will mention later, is not only about having strategies and doing projects, is also about drawing the line at a point and seeing what has been done properly and what not. And in terms of future stake, of course, today's decisions will mainly impact us, the students. The teachers and the local authorities take the decisions, but then you will give us the cities, we will inherit the cities, the young people will inherit the cities that will remain after the decisions that are being taken today. So that's why it's very important that we are there. But the reality is that even now, of course, we have many examples of good practices, but we still have a lot of spaces in which students are only invited to comment or to give feedback after decisions have already been made, which for us sometimes it feels as it is a bit too late. And for a sustainable transformation, we believe that student participation has to exist from creation. So whenever we define a problem, whenever we look into what goes wrong, that's where students should be. And then, of course, we can also go further and say that we're there for designing the solution, testing ideas in the campuses, in our organizations, be part of the change in your university. And as I mentioned earlier, also further on evaluate impact and communicate the results if the case arises. As two good practices, of course, we know some at the global level, but we wanted to give two general good practices that can maybe then be used by any higher education institution in this world, no matter the size, no matter the city, no matter the interest, the strategy. One of them is the idea of having student evidence for sustainable urban action. And here students can start documenting issues that are very important, such as unsafe routes to campus, unaffordable housing, inaccessible public spaces, heat exposure, waste management, transport barriers. All of these, I listed these 6 because these are probably one of the main common issues that we deal with around the world, no matter where we're students. But of course, many other things can be documented by us. And then all this evidence can then be presented to whoever is interested, to the interested stakeholders, be it local authorities, community partners, university leadership, so be it. And another good practice that we think it's very important to share, was also mentioned more or less briefly earlier, is the idea of campus city living labs, indeed, because universities and municipalities test solutions to urban challenges together. And this is very, very helpful, both for us, the students, but also for everyone that is part of the communities. This is how we can focus on specific real issues that impact both the citizens in a certain area, but also the students, talking about mobility, housing, climate adaptation, public spaces, circular economy. And then, of course, we want to be there in the living labs that the campus city can offer. We can help in research. We have this tendency of having a lot of PhD students that sometimes are not connected to the research that is really needed in the community that they're part of, and this can be enhanced. Then we can have, of course, surveys, which indeed are more or less functional, depending the age, depending the interest of the students. We can do a lot of workshops, hackathons, volunteering, and partnerships. Lastly, the practical impact. Generate recommendations, prototypes, and policy ideas that cities can implement. This is, again, something very useful that we can help with, and it is an inherent part of the Living Lab. So to finish with, because I know we're also a bit late, I think it's important to understand by everyone that sustainable cities cannot be built for young people unless they are built with young people. So that's why we're here. We're here to support, to ask questions, and to give answers to whoever asks. So please feel free to interact with us when you have something that is related to SDG 11 and you need student feedback on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this excellent presentation on student engagement and what students can do, and how they also help shape the cities in which they live and in which the universities are based. So we had some extra slides planned, but we prefer to actually move directly into the moderated discussion, where we had 2 guiding questions, with one already alluded to quite a bit. The first question was, in what ways can universities and other higher education institutions accelerate sustainable transformation in cities while linking local action to global goals? And that is something that you've all actually shown quite consistently in your presentation. In Thailand, it was clear how Siam University is really positioned in a city, in the locality, but also in the country, also through soon SUN Thailand, but that connected to SUN Asia, and how the universities themselves co-opt work that they do and how they help enhance that work through networking. I'm just repeating a little bit just to synthesize and bring it back. I think you also showed very clearly, Paulo Pereira, how the universities have to be instrumental in the way in which they engage with the city in which they are located, that all of this requires for critical thinking, critical approaches, and that we cannot simply blame it on climate change or on external factors, but that indeed, when we look at the future sustainability options of cities, it will require to look very critically at how we organize our cities and take bold steps as to implement transformations that are needed. But this would require for universities to come with further strong knowledge-based approaches to how that would make a difference. It will require quite a bit of scientific diplomacy, conversations with the policymakers, and help transform the way in which we organize the world in which we live. That I hear from your presentation, Hiba, Moshen, same, this whole project that you presented in the Saida waterfront is a joint effort. It comes out of a university strong engagement with all the people within your communities, from staff, student, administrators, leadership, but also the city. It required, of course, the city to get engaged in the project, to adopt it, for financial means to be put where it matters, and for political will to help transform a city that is in such need of a transformation for a better living space, but that can happen through teaching and learning, through community engagement, through research, but again, also through political engagement with those who can actually put this into practice with a political will behind it. Tamara and Giovanni with the presentation on how students shape urban life, but all the things that you can help do is a strong plea for everywhere to engage students to the full. I think all the three other projects have shown that in Thailand, Lithuania, and Lebanon, the students are part and parcel of the projects that are being developed. And yet there is much more that you can help do, especially also when we see such a strong connect through the Global Student Forum, which is an organization that brings in the conversations that matter. So many student organizations from around the world. So your capacity to act is absolutely amazing. Would you like to that first question add one point, but really we only have 20 minutes to the hour when this session needs to stop. So if you wish, you can maybe say in 1 minute what you would add to the point. How can universities help accelerate sustainable development in cities? And then we will go to the second question: how can cities and universities really build stronger collaboration in order to deliver on the promises of your project? And I think those two questions are intrinsically connected, and that would give you 2 minutes to react, but not more. So if I give you 2 minutes, Pornchai, how would you say universities can step up their action and how to work with the cities in a different way? 2 minutes starting now. So
Okay.
at 45,
Yes.
the mic goes to Paulo.
Okay, thank you very much, Hillich. I think that for 2 minutes, firstly, I think that we have to share our good practice. And this is a good practice of AT University. And after this session, I will have all of you, if you like, to download this our good practice of we have done in AT University in Thailand. Secondly, I think that is dealing with the learning model. So the learning model should be project-based or problem-based. And then the one who create the problem should be from the pain points of the city by working with the city and then having the student and our staff to discuss in in the classroom. And then after that, we can implement as a living lab within the campus. And the one that we work, we also can upscale and working and continue. In this way, I think that higher education can be more valuable, at least to solve the problem of the city. I hope that it will not be 2 minutes, or it will not be over 2 minutes by now. Thank you.
No, wonderful. Thank you very much. Reporting, showcasing, sharing, and scale up. That is what you say, but indeed also new learning models. And what is interesting, how to bring to the table those who create the problems, because we can speak among ourselves and we speak to the converted, but how to bring on board those who are the skeptics and those who don't see what needs to be done. That is part and parcel of the question that I already posed to Paulo Ferreira, when I said maybe you can expand a little bit on how do you see that the university can really promote knowledge-based societies and ensure that people engage with it. So, Paulo.
This is a very good question, especially because I think we should rethink how the universities are organized, and we should have more research-based universities. And courses made on the research and engage the students on the research for them for the early stage, understand how we tackle the problems through the science. Doesn't mean that they will do science, but you will have at least the scientific thinking, how to solve the problems, how to think about this methodologically, and in the context of the cities, how they can address from a problem to a solution. And they can think about that critically. And I think, in my opinion, develop this knowledge or scientific-based programs or universities will be very helpful for the society, because we don't grow out of nowhere. You grow out of something that is established, that is based on science, which is important. This was one of the important things in the universities. So, a part of the engagement, I think, the universities should take a lead in the question of discover and in the question of bring through science and engaging the students with them. This will be important for a transformation society.
Thank you. Yes, so very important to rethink how universities are organized then. And I see a link with the intervention by Prof. Mong Vanit on this importance of problem-based learning. Take a problem, analyze it, and work through the different mechanisms within a university with the academic staff, with the students, with the administrators, but also with society outside the university to lead to the solutions. In a world that is challenging science so much, universities have to step up their work and action when it comes to building back trust in science. And that is also a very heavy task that lies ahead. Leading to you then, Hiba, what would you say in addition? What can universities do in addition to lead the way into a more sustainable future? 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think the higher education institutions should move beyond knowledge providers and become active urban partners. So what I mean is to link teaching, research, and civic engagement directly to the real local challenges. And here I'm stressing on the context, a fragmented and challenging context like Lebanon. So the most valuable role of the university is its ability to bring different actors around the same table. And this can be in many ways, where a university can generate evidence that cities do not have the capacity or the infrastructure or the governance infrastructure that do not have the capacity or resources to produce their own evidence, and how the university can act as a neutral platform given the political challenges, a neutral platform for dialogue and co-production. Thank you.
Thank you. Very important point that actually comes back to a point that was raised also by the previous speaker, Paulo Pereira. Universities have to lead by example, and they can actually be those safe spaces where you can bring together actors that don't speak to each other outside of the university. And definitely that is where universities can step up their action quite a bit. Even if they claim that they are too busy, overburdened, this is really a role that is that is really for universities to play to the full. So, what would you add to that, Tamara Chobano, in terms of the different actions that you already suggested?
Yes, well, of course, much has already been said, and I definitely agree with the previous speakers. There are many ways in which institutions can accelerate sustainable transformation, but I think to also connect it to the previous speakers and sum it up, we're looking into generating knowledge and innovation at all levels, addressing urban challenges, becoming more sustainable. And then, of course, what I stress, and it was also mentioned by my colleagues, act as living laboratories where campuses test and demonstrate solutions. Then, of course, empower the students, the alumni, the active partners, not just as beneficiaries, but by involving them in research, design, implementation, evaluation of sustainability initiatives. Then, of course, very important, connecting the local action to the SDGs. As I mentioned, this sometimes does not happen. The work is very fragmented indeed, and we need to start translating more the global goals into practical community-based projects and measurable outcomes, and this can definitely be done by the institutions. Support evidence-based policymaking through many means of doing it: research, data, collaboration with municipality, and last but not least, of course, strengthen civic engagement and building partnerships between students, the employment sector, communities, local authorities. So, of course, the conclusion is that higher education institutions really have, I would say, an essential role in accelerating the sustainable transformation that we all talk about and that we all need in our communities.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for these words that lead to a conclusion. We only have 7-8 minutes left, yet we have two excellent questions in the chat. One from Shuja Ahmad Khan, asking how universities that have to struggle so much when to survive financially actually address sustainable development in a meaningful way. And I would be tempted to respond using the different presentations that these presentations have showcased, that actually it is also revenue generating to engage with sustainable development, and it may transform the way in which universities stand in society. It will bring back trust in science, trust in the institution, and it will ultimately also offer new opportunities for the many players outside the institution to support the institution, and then for the institution to become more viable. There has been a disconnect, as we've seen in many of the work that the IU has done over the last few years, and latest also at our conference 2025, where we address the issue: why is trust in science and trust in the institutions so much challenged these days? It is because people don't see all the beautiful work that's being done. So there's a lot about communication, about engagement, that will help address this issue as well, and would help address the issue of financial sustainability. But I know you want to hear from the speakers, but I want to go to Ben Short's question as well. Given that homelessness is a growing urbanization problem impacted by climate change, how essential do you believe it is to integrate it into SDG 11 and the SDGs generally beyond 2030? The whole issue of migration today, which is one of the reasons for homelessness, but not only, but homelessness also led by the mere fact that our economies are struggling, and that people are losing their jobs and their homes, etc., is also a huge problem, and is definitely one of the topics that is high on the discussions moving into preparing for a new agenda beyond 2030. So here it's unfortunately time is quite short, but if I give everyone half a minute, what would you say to these two questions? Back to you. We start with Tamara. Half a minute. One or two points you would make.
I will try to be as short as possible. I would say homelessness hits in our hearts, especially the students, because it's also very connected to the housing problem, which is one of the biggest problems that we have now. And addressing housing affordability and homelessness through joint city universities initiative, including research-informed housing policies, student-led outreach programs, community-based support services is probably one of the most essential things that need to be done now. So in our opinion, it probably fits naturally within the sustainability and social inclusion dimension of this long-term city-university partnerships, and it should definitely be addressed as a matter of priority when it comes to talking about SDG 11, but also other SDGs that are directly connected with this, not only SDG 4, but also others.
Thank you so much. So investing is usually the best guarantee for gaining money and attention to the issues that matter so much. Hiba, half a minute.
Okay, so regarding the homelessness, I think it is directly connected to SDG 11 because, as mentioned by Tamara, particularly the target 11.1, affordable housing for all. So I would like to highlight to also back to Lebanon case. This has become closely connected to war, unfortunately, displacement with 20% of the population displaced during this war. So it's a critical challenge to SDG 11. And ensuring access to safe and adequate housing for all is very important, especially in conditions of the recent war. So temporary shelters, the topic of overcrowded housing, insecurity of living conditions, these are all conditions that are very linked to inclusive urban recovery and housing support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And also all these they are the basis for insecurity and for no opportunity for engaging in a sustainable future. If you don't have the grounds to do so, how then can you be expected to contribute to it in a meaningful way in the capacities that you would otherwise have if you would have the basic conditions to participate in civic life? So thank you for those important points. Then Paulo, half a minute. Juhaina is coming in already for the conclusions. Please unmute yourself, Paulo.
Homelessness is the change of our times in a global city. So it's very difficult to address it in an integrated way because they have local context, as the war is and other ones. So cities will be always space of vulnerability, and more homeless we have, more vulnerability we will have for these people. So it is a question. Don't have only one solution. Regarding how the things can be more cooperating with the universities, this is two approaches. Is how the institutions need knowledge from the universities and how the universities can support the decision making. So it has to be a two-way because we both need each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And Pornchai, half a minute.
Okay, it's difficult for me, but I think that right now I like to say that we are undergone a lot of disruption. So I think that the university have to create the new model of teaching and learning, and probably like something kind of like new entrepreneurship or social business. I mean, we try to make them to be able to help themselves to do some kind of social business, or also the concept of microcredit also can be introduced. I think that in this way, the university can work and can resolve the problem of the society, because the most important thing is that we have to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our learning system, and then engaging to the society with the new idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So excellent. I think with this, we have addressed to a large extent the two other questions that were in the chat. The one by Carla Richer-Dager on the preparation of students, and also the question raised by Prof. Sultan on what it means to unpack these different elements and embed them in higher education. Before giving you the floor and to conclude, Juhaina, I would like to thank Isabel Thoman for the wonderful organization of this event, together with two wonderful students here at the IAU, Therese Edroot and Shrika, who have helped create this space and this conversation here today. Juhaina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hiraj. I will try to be very short. I will begin where you finished. I want first of all to thank Isabel, Hiraj, and all the staff of the AAU of having organizing such a beautiful session, and to thank all the speakers for the exchange, the speeches. We had the leadership, the student, the researcher, the educator. We talked about research, civil engagement, innovation, and impact. And the high-level political forum is really an excellent occasion for universities to have a critical point of view on the Agenda 2030. And I heard that this is very important to help shape what will come after 2030. It's also very important to showcase how partnership with universities, students, cities can really co-create innovative solutions. And we heard about some concrete projects, and this was very good. It's also very good to identify practical ways that we can give to policymakers, and that can be, as this has been said, science and knowledge-based actions toward 2030 and beyond. Dear speakers, you are heard. You are heard at the international level. You are heard by the International Association of Universities. Even if the challenges are not common, there are differences from the north and from the south. They have problem of infrastructure that can be aging in the north, but that can be really deficit in the south. The problem can really be tackled together. And I think that this conversation came with some lessons. I will try to summarize. The first one is that universities have to lead by examples, and this is very good to begin with operation at the university level and to step up this action. This is important to do things at the campus level to show the other partners that this is possible. The second one is to come with pilot projects in living labs, including civil societies and students before scaling up. The third one is to the importance of having students and youth from the beginning in the process, and to move from the symbolic consultation to genuine co-creation. I heard you very well. This is very good as message too. The importance of regional networking, as in South Asia, and the global networking and with UN system. And the International Association of Universities is very good in that. And the last but not the least is the interconnectedness of SDGs and the importance of culture and technology to make universities have this third mission, or think about the three missions together in a whole institutional approach to generate evidence for cities. So many projects are possible with the International Association of Universities. You can join the cluster of higher education and sustainable development. There is the Responsible Future International Program, where students can really be the most important actors to give this audit of the universities. And you can come with us to International Conference in Perth in November, where all these topics will be discussed again and again, and show how universities can be really actors that can change the world with all the components of university and all the missions of the university. So thank you for all those that were with us. Thank you for the AAU for organizing that, and thank you for all the speakers, and see you next for other events for the International Association of Universities. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Ciao.
Thank you.
As we say,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.